Okay, so we're back. We are now on the California Residential Purchase Agreement and Joint Escrow form. This is a 10-page form, and this is what you use to make that offer for your client or buyer. Over here is the date, of course, you prepared this contract. I prepared it on the 15th, so I put in the date here over here. And of course, you plug in the buyer's name, and they give you 4 lines to do that. Um, you can have 2 or 3 or 4 buyers, but this in this video we only have 1 buyer as an example. Now here is the property information, the subject property that your buyer wants to purchase, and of course it provides city, county, and zip code, as well as the parcel number. You can find this information prior to creating your contract offer in the MLS listings report. And down here is, of course, the offer price. Now, over here, you can plug in a number. Let's say the buyer wants a 30-day close, so you can plug in the number. This is highly advisable to plug in a real date for closing date. However, there are some instances when you can't really be sure what date you can close, so therefore you just put 30 days or 45 days. So you put it here, and the minute you do this side disappears, but the minute you put in the days, this portion disappears. So you can't have both. It's one or the other. Now here's the confirmation paragraph confirming that this is the listing broker office, and you as the buyer exclusive is this is your selling broker firm name. So this is where you enter it. Now going down is the financing portion. Of course, there is that initial deposit when your buyer submits a personal check, um, and let's say for $5,000 to be deposited in escrow, you put it in here, on here. So going down, you will be encountering the paragraph D for loans, and this is for the buyer's loan. So assuming for purpose of training that we have a buyer who has a 30-year fixed rate conventional loan, and he's putting or she's putting a 20% down. So 20% down is 100,000 out of 500, right? So whatever is left minus the down payment is the buyer's financing loan or loan to be financed. So you usually get this information from the buyer's loan officer or from the pre-qualification letter that the buyer or loan officer provides to you as the agent. So here's the information. And then just to show you, if you plug in, like if it's an FHA loan, uh, you know, you have to indicate it here. Or if it's a VA loan, you know, you have to identify it here. So anyways, moving forward, on page 2, you have the loan contingency removal and appraisal contingency removal provisions. Now, if it's not, then you have to click on the box over here. But if it is, you see how it makes that number disappears. But if you do have a contingency removal date, you can either use the default of 17 days or plug in a number. This time we have a 15-day contingency as requested by the buyer. And over here is your loan contingency removal, which is 21 days by default. But if the buyer requests to increase or decrease it, you can do it here. And of course, here is your other terms where you have to manually type in whatever the buyer's or your client's terms are that you cannot find a provision in the entire contract form. This other terms, it provides you to put in all the terms that you cannot find provisions in the contract. So if the buyer wants an as-is condition sale and you don't have that in the rest of these forms, then you plug it in here. You can also type in certain term requests like seller to credit buyer's closing costs, and so on and so forth. So this is where you put in that request or term. And here is the allocation of costs. This is the start of it. And these are portions here that identify who pays what. Uh, and here it shows the seller is paying for natural hazard report. And of course, you put in the source information or producer of the report. And here, the buyer is requesting a home inspection and prepared by whom. And this ends part 2, and we'll continue with page 3 of the contract.